Good morning, everybody. It is I, Lewis Porter Jr. If you're seeing this video, wow, really, people? If you're seeing this video, it's going to be kind of disjointed because, once again, someone called me in the middle of taping, and then I tried to do another one, and then someone else called me in the middle of taping, and then I tried to do another one, and then someone else called me in the middle of that one. So today it's Thursday from a video. I think I started it Sunday. I can't remember anymore. So the first part, you'll notice I'll be wearing my regular casual clothing, as I call it, while the end one, I'm actually dressed, ready to go to work. As you see, I got my shirt on and the whole deal. I don't know if you can see it that well. Whatever. So as we were talking about Paizo and third-party publishers, and what happens when Paizo, gets into your area of expertise, and and I always will say, I always go back to the concept of, is it official or is it good? Which is the most important thing? And I think so many people have gotten to the, it's official because they play Pathfinder Society. And, I think I probably said it before on this. It's been a couple days, so I can't remember exactly everything I said. But, Pathfinder Society is a marketing arm for Paizo. And that's the main purpose of it. It's to acquire newer players, get them interested, get them playing, and have them continue to play, because that's what you want to have. You want to have a solid base of people are going to buy your books and stuff like that. And that makes total sense. The flip side to that, and the more interesting side, I think, is finding a way to get third-party guys involved with that. That's something that most people don't want to get involved, because, let's just be bluntly honest. There's a lot of third-party material out there, and it's all different varying qualities of really amazing done to poorly done stuff. And opening that stuff up to Pathfinder Societies is almost virtually impossible. You might get maybe one or two companies to do that, but it's really more of a nightmare for them. But it's like, what if somebody comes up with a rule that's, ridiculous, that gets into Pathfinder Society and, destroys the enjoyment of that? And then, I get it. I think companies can do, I think companies can do their own version of it. For Neo Exodus, we have a version of basically our Pathfinder Society. It's called Neo Exodus Legacies. JP has been running that for, good Lord, a couple of years now. And, we've built a fan base from it. And, some of the stuff that was lacking in society, he's included, like crafting. I know you just finally get a piece about that, and it's readily available online, or still developing that. I can't remember. But, stuff like that is stuff people have been asking for. So, give the people they're asking for. And I know, other third-party guys have attempted to, let's do our own version of it. Having seen just what JP's done on ours, it's incredibly detailed and complicated. And it's got a lot of moving parts, and it's not easy to do. And that in itself is an issue. So it's really easy to see why Paizo would never do something like that. Well, at the same time, I think third-party publishers need to understand, what their role is in the relationship with Paizo. Your role in this relationship is really to help sell more copies of their main game, their core rule book. That's the ticket. That's the main goal. We all are doing that. We all are basically doing that. You're adding on more cool stuff to it, so people will buy the core rule book and get it, use it, buy it, and play it. And that's really it. So, if you focus on that as a company, I think it's a better long-term choice than getting upset at Paizo because they made a product similar to yours, and they've taken your customers. I love when people say that. You took my customers. Dude, they're not your customers. They're customers. And they made a choice with their dollars to what they're going to spend their money on. That's the best way to decide it. If you made a good product, people are going to buy it. But if your competitor makes a better product, well, you've got to find a way to make a better product than that. And that's what makes a good business. You just can't sit on your laurels and just say, I made the best product, and then all of a sudden someone came in and made a better product, and now they don't buy my stuff, and now I hate them. Now, that's just stupid. I mean, come on, man. That is just kind of stupid. That's stupid. I expect my competition to make better product. I expect my competition to increase the quality of the product. I expect my competition to go into areas that I've claimed for my own, saying, this is my thing, this is what we do. I expect that. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you think when money is involved, and, it could be a fair amount of money. I mean, it's fair enough that some people this is their job. This is how they earn their salary. Why do you think if that kind of money is involved that people wouldn't be fighting tougher for it? So, that's the way I feel. I've always been a big believer in doing good work, and you'll get the rewards. Kickstarter is a prime example of that. There's tons of guys out there who do Kickstarters, and I've heard people talk to me say, well, how did this guy get this much money for a Kickstarter? And sometimes it's because they're good guys. They're good products. They've been doing it a long time. I always go back to my same favorite person, Steve over at Right Potion. Steve knows how to do Kickstarters because Steve started doing from that business model. He's done very, very well with that. For myself, I've done okay on Kickstarter, but at the same time, I'm not happy with the way I've done Kickstarter personally. I always go back to it. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts in Kickstarter, almost to the point where I'm like, this is not worth all these moving parts, because I like to touch everything that I get involved with, specifically because, my name's on it. So I want to make sure if my name's on it, it's going to be good, or we're going to try something cool, or at least at a minimum, it's going to look nice. So, that doesn't always happen with Kickstarter. So, and plus, it's like, for a one-man operation, it's difficult. You got to do all this part, and you got to do this, and you got to keep this together. And, once again, I am the single point of failure. The things happen, People get sick, children get sick, you've got work projects. You can slow something down to a grinding halt. And that's not something I want to do. It's something kind of the opposite of what I want to do. So, my theory is, let's try and do cool stuff and try to kind of keep me directly from being the thing that causes everything to seize up and halt. All right, for example, I've been working on Cross the Fire Saga Kickstarter. This thing's not going to start till probably, now it's going to be like late September and end Halloween. That's the plan. I worked from day one. I'm working on the graphic design for the cover now, and I've gotten some images that I like, and I'm doing some mock-ups. I'm doing that stuff now, and it's the end of May. It's like the last couple days of May. It says June. I still need to give my writers the outline of what they're going to write. I still haven't given that to them. In my head, at least in my head, I planned to have this thing done last month. Didn't happen that way. Oh, okay. Well, I finally got, out of the potential 6 adventures, I got the first adventure, the precursor outline done. So at least have a rough draft so people can at least work from. Now I've got to work on the rest of them. And I'm like, oh, this is, in my head they're there, but it's like it's a very rough, sketchy outline. What's the connecting figure between all this? What's the important fact here? And that kind of stuff you've got to write down, and you've got to express it to the people who are doing the writing. So, it's not as easy as you'd like it to be. And I work from, an old-fashioned outline standing format, So, I've got to get this stuff together. I've got to get together. While this is going on, I've got competitors doing Kickstarters and all kinds of cool Kickstarters. And, and some guys coming out with a Kickstarter as I'm finishing mine. I mean, I have guys who've told me, which I thought was kind of funny, but we're interesting at the same time. They're like, oh, we're going to start doing horror stuff. And I'm like, wow, everybody's doing horror stuff now. And, they're friends, but they're also competitors. So I've got to be aware of that. There are competitors out there already who already are friends. We've talked about, hey, let's team up on some stuff, and let's team up to basically say, this is our little space. You guys stay over there, because we're going to battle it out right here, and we're going to control this space. And that happens. You see it all the time. I'm waiting to see, because eventually, at least in my mind, eventually someone else is going to do psionics. Now, it's going to be hard to beat Dreamscar Press's, lock, stock, and barrel on the market, but someone's going to try, because that's just the way of things. And someone's going to put something out that's pretty good, and it's probably going to be very different from what Dreamscar does. And I think you'll have, some market fragmentation from it. Maybe not a lot, but enough. Or even weirder, they'll have people make products specifically for the Sonics rules and teaming up with Dreams Guard Press. I've done that. You'll start seeing more and more of that because, hey, Dreams Guard Press has fans. The fans have proven they like this. They've given them a bunch of money to support it. I mean, their books have done very, very well. Why would I expect them to not have a fan base who would like to support more cool stuff? And you're going to see more cool stuff from other people. So it's a part of a process. This is all just pieces together of one big thing, and it always comes back down to what are you doing to help the people who use your products and enjoy them even more. As long as you focus on that, you don't have to worry about your competitors. Your competitors are going to be competitors. You're going to have competitors. And you're going to have huge competitors. That's the funny part. Here's a thought process I learned a long time ago, and I think I've said it a couple times on this podcast, but I think it bears repeating. And here it comes, and this is going to blow your mind. Well, some of you will get it, and some of you won't. But the guys who get it is going to blow their mind. All right. Here's a simple question. There's actually two questions, but you'll see what I mean. Number one. Do you think you can make a better hamburger than McDonald's? I'm guessing. So you're like, yeah, of course, I can make a better hamburger than McDonald's, right? All right. Here's the second part to it, and this is the important part. Do you think you can make a better system to delivering hamburgers to people than McDonald's? Let me say it again. Do you think you can build a better system to deliver hamburgers than McDonald's? And that's really the focus. That's the focus. What kind of system can you develop to get your product to people? Because that's where the real power is, okay? That's the strength of it. Kickstarter has kind of helped that. But, as a company, you think like that, you think from that perspective, instead of thinking, I made the better burger, you're going to sell more. Because, the delivery of the item is important. And that doesn't matter if you're using RPG Now, Paizo, whoever. How you get that system to deliver the product to the people so they can have it, or get access to it, or know about it. That's the important part. That's the strong point. And then you can go battle against Paizo in areas. And better still, you can do it better than Paizo. And not worry about them. Hey man, people are going to pick up Paizo because it says Paizo on it. It's official. You can't do anything about that. Worrying about that's a waste of time. All you can do is go out there and make the best badass product. So when Paizo sees it out there, they actually want to copy it. Because let's be honest, it's kind of a good thing that Paizo would copy something that you've done. Because it means that you're on the right track. And I know I said that before. But remember that. That's important. If Paizo thinks it's willing to copy what you're doing, you've done something right. And if you can put together a couple of those good, done something right things, you could be like, Cobalt Press, who did a lot of great stuff, and now is doing adventures for 5e under the name Cobalt Press. Ta-da! See, it's not rocket science we're doing here. Like Cobalt Press also did with Paizo and one of the adventures. Oh, I forgot about that. Ta-da! If you keep doing cool-ass stuff, you can be that guy. But it's got to be cool-ass stuff. Take your ego out of the equation. Take your ego out of the equation. It's a waste of time. Take your pride out of the equation. It's a waste of time. Do quality work. That's what's important. Stop trying to be right like, oh, they took my thing, and stop crying. What are you, a third grader? My son cries like that. He's 4. You're a grown adult. Stop crying like that. Put out good product. But they're bigger than me. So what? So what? History's full of guys who've been bigger than the other guy who still got their ass handed to them. Tons of parts of that in history. So all it tells me is that you got a potential to be a great winner. If you lose, hey, you got beat up by a bigger guy. You ain't the first. If you win, it's a story you can talk about for everybody for a long time. And people will get excited about stories like that. Oh, you know, this small little David killed the Goliath. That's amazing. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God. Oops. I mean, see, now you get me all upset before I go to work and all hyped up and you know, goodness. But like I said, I just think there's so many of us out there that are doing good work that aren't working together. You know, too many of us are working, you know, in our own little closets, off to the side, little nook, and you know, and we're even worse off. We're working with a group of people who are telling us how good we are and stuff like that. Get out there, talk to other publishers. There's tons of guys you can talk to in this industry. Tons. You can just pick up the phone and usually call most of them. A lot of them are at home. A lot of them online all the time. So pick them up, call, ask a question. Say, hey, you did a product like XYZ. I want to know if we could do a product similar to that and we can use your rules or something from your thing. Or even better, hire them to work for you. You know, it's a small industry. It's a real small industry. We all talk to each other. We all know each other. You know, if someone wants to get in touch with Owen Casey Stevens, it's not that difficult. If someone wants to get in touch with, hell, Sean K. Reynolds, it's not that difficult. Most of these guys have blogs. Most of these guys have email addresses. And you can write them and ask them. And they'll be more than happy to tell you stuff. Because I know when I get someone writing me, I'm like, oh, someone's written me. I will write them back. Or I will call them back. Or I will Skype them back. You know, there's so many different ways to get in touch with people. That's why, what do you think I do? Why do you think I do these videos? I do these videos for a couple of reasons. But the two most important reasons. Number one, it's information. You get solidly good information. You know who I am. You see my face. You see me talking. You see me how I respond about this stuff. And you know kind of where my position is. Number two, and this one should be obvious, but some people don't understand this. I use this to sell stuff. If it's not just my stuff, it's other people's stuff. It's a platform to sell. I'm talking to you about stuff that you're already interested in. And I'm telling you why you should buy it. Platform to sell. And do you know why I use video? Because I know video works much better than plain audio. Now everybody's like, well, you know, with audio I can put it and listen to it, and you can do other things usually while you're listening to it. I'm doing video because I know that a lot of you want to focus on what I'm doing. A lot of you will look what I'm doing. So I've got your attention. Attention! And that's the name of the game. You know, if you ever want to just, and now I'm going to go tangent on the business. If you ever want to just see some really interesting business videos that are good to watch, that will get you inspired, that will get you excited about selling and the concept of what we do, there's a gentleman by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. He has a ton of videos online where he's done interviews. WineLibrary.tv, I think is still his website. Gary Vaynerchuk focuses on wine, but he's built a multi-million dollar media company on his ability to sell. And he will tell you, without a doubt, and totally unabashed, which I think is amazing, you know, he uses these techniques to sell. And that's why he likes this kind of new media and stuff like that. And you know what? I feel the exact same way. I love doing these videos. They're really cool. But I love doing them because they also help me sell the product that I am presenting. How many times have you heard the word Neo-Exodus or Obsidian Apocalypse in my videos? I'm willing to get a bunch of times. I'm willing to bet a bunch of times. Why? Because I keep talking about it. And some of you may not have even heard of it because if I hadn't talked about it on this. This ain't rocket science. Hell, this isn't even simple math. It's easier than that. I mean, you'll see, I can speak, more and more people started doing videos. Now that the video technology is coming so cheap, more and more people are doing it and setting up for it. I did podcasting initially, and then I got out of that. And then I figured out, like, well, I want to do video, but I don't know how to do video well. This is the best, cheapest, coolest, fastest way to do video. And if you're not doing video, please, you know, especially if you're a company, take 2 seconds out, get a flipping phone, and shoot a video. Or buy a $70 camera from Logitech with a microphone like the one I have in my office. That'll cost you $70. You plug it in, boom, you start recording. You know, this isn't rocket science we're doing. We're not splitting atoms, we're not being super, we're not doing all that stuff. We're putting together smart stuff. So think about it smart. Take 2 seconds out. Find out ways that you can differentiate yourself in the market, and find those ways that can help you build your company. And don't worry about Paizo. Hell, don't worry about me. Go out there, do the right thing, kick some ass, make good products, and people will buy your stuff, and they'll talk about it. Make it interesting. Make it interesting. Make it interesting. There's nothing worse than something you've worked on and it's dull and boring. All right, I'm about to pull into work. Coming back after 5 days off. Oh, so difficult. So difficult. I'm gonna come here and do some work, and maybe I'll take a nap. You never know. All right. There in my spot. Yay! All right. I am back to work. I'm done with this video, and I'll talk to you all later.